Twelve seconds later.
Throwing flashbang.
Huh?
Greetings, Sonc. I have with me the poems you requested. Do you mind if I come in and listen to your analysis?
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you. Please enlighten me.
To understand these poems, it is wise that we learn of the writer, Edgar Allan Poe, who is a Romantic-era poet with a melancholic backstory and a talent for writing tragic and morbid poems. He is well known for writing the aforementioned dark poems and short stories, along with writing the first detective story, which inspired the Chronicles of Sherlock Holmes. The three poems I will be discussing with you this morning are titled A Dream Within a Dream, A City in the Sea, and Dreamland. You may pause the video to read these poems if you would like to. A Dream Within a Dream is the narrator's struggle with reality and irreality, if this is the real life or just a fantasy, and the frustrations over how time and valuable things, such as loved ones or possessions, slip from him. He laments over his lack of a grip on things that he dearly enjoys in the second stanza, comparing it to the sands of the ocean shore and how it slips between his fingers. This poem, in my view, is a struggle of the connection between reality and retaining love. In our oversaturated lives of work, entertainment, and worry, we can lose sight of relationships with family and friends, a dangerous and painful phenomena that many of us could be familiar with. We could end up like this narrator, feeling frustration towards how we cannot seem to find time for anyone or anything, lest it be work-related. A City in the Sea is a tour through a lonely city in the West, surrounded by ocean, filled with riches, open graves, stunning architecture, temples, majestic walls, towers, kingly halls, and domes, and death as the ruler. Death looms, on a throne, over the entire city like a giant. The city is full of many buildings built for people, but there are no signs of life anywhere. But one day, a wind blows over the sea, and the ocean begins to glow red as the city sinks into the depths, as if hell wishes to visit the grand city. Hell itself seems to revere the city. This poem, in my view, is another interesting interpretation of Death by Poe. Death rules the city of, presumably, the dead, surrounded by the ocean which hosts the underworld. The city, along with death, sink into the depths of the inferno in the end. In the Christian scriptures, the book of Revelations describes the end of the world as we know it, and Revelations chapter 20, verse 14 says that death and hell shall be thrown into the lake of fire, also referred to as the second death. What if, perhaps, instead of the ocean representing hell, it is the lake of fire consuming the city which death rules? It would explain why hell would consume death's territory. After all, does death not have domain in that inferno? Dreamland describes the narrator's journey from the mythical island at the end of Earth named Thule, through a strange land of shifting geography and of various creatures, ruled by the spirit Night. This realm is quite chaotic and gloomy in some areas, from mountains being thrown into rivers and bodies of water floating up into fiery skies, to swamps and gray forests filled with ghouls. The narrator, all the while, notes the dreamlike qualities of this land, along with the weight of sadness added upon him in the end, as he wanders through the swamp of toads and newts. He also walks past manifestations of memories and dead friends, along with ill angels. Nothing in this land makes sense to a rational creature like the Homo sapiens. This poem focuses on the dream aspect more than a dream within a dream, with a landscape of titanic trees, chasms and caves, valleys and mountains, and mythical creatures that should not exist. Everything seems so surreal under the watch of night, as we are all strictly bound to reality's rules. I had trouble finding meaning in this poem, such as the chaotic nature of this poem, but the Edgar Allan Poe Society of Baltimore came up with a meaning. According to that group, it is a poetic representation of the discordant, unrestrained, and unruly land of imagination and its crossing with reality, and how it is able to transcend that disharmony.
Very fascinating. You have spent many hours pondering these literary specimens, have you not?
Why, thank you, fine gentlemen. I have indeed used much of my time to research these poems.
Sigh. It is quite unfortunate that your distinguished manner has worn off with that tea. I must get going now to begin my work. It has been a pleasure listening to your analysis. Good day.
Cut! Hold on to the Freddy Fazbear, Freddy Fazbear,